The problems that farmers are facing are multifaceted, and they are complex, they are connected, and the system within farmers' work is much more globalized. It is now science-driven. No single organization is going to be able to deal with the enormity and scope of the problem, because we're talking of millions and millions of farmers. So partnerships are important, and particularly for farmers organizations whose job really is to be the voice of farmers and to empower them. You really need the content to drive that process, and that content would come from partnerships that enable knowledge to be generated, science, innovation, hence working with researchers and innovation institutions such as CCAFS.
In CCAFS, we have partnerships at multiple levels. So at the basic level that we work in within CCAFS is called at the village level. So we have sites around the world in 20 countries. They're called climate smart villages. So these are actual villages where we do research. We test out new technologies, services, advisories. It could be the company that sells seeds, the NGO that organizes the community together. Then the next stage we work in is usually the subnational and national governments. Here we engage with the governments themselves, the national research system of the governments, as well as the ministries. So cut across the national policy landscape. Then the next stage we work is at the regional level. So for example, in Africa, we work with the African Union very closely. So we partner with those organizations to help set the continental agenda around climate change and agriculture, and then work with them in terms of implementation.
Connecting farmers with, let me add, the public sector, the private sector, government, and also in the international development partners is absolutely important, because farmers are facing a number of challenges. Like I said, these are non-climate challenge as well as climate-related challenge, and often farmers are using their own coping mechanisms to address this. But by connecting them, I think that coalition could bring more resources, more knowledge, and also more information into the mix, and in a more participatory fashion to help them tackle some of the problems, both non-climate as well as climate variables.
The way that we've been relating to CCAFS has been that it has been sort of on demand. When we feel that we need content to some of the ideas that we have, we've turned to CCAFS for advice, sort of co-creating ideas and messages that we think farmers should take to COP, as an example.
The way that we do research, as I mentioned, is demand-driven. So we try to involve those, try to talk to the communities and to understand what their needs are, and try to listen to the various communities that are involved in this, in the research process, and help them to increase resilience, to increase also their productivity and food security, and then while producing their food, making the less harm to the environment in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. So we try to put everyone in the table and try to listen to all the different communities and diverse stakeholders that we work with.